How in the world did we not hear about this? All the while, the Republicans are over here going after the jugular of the financiers of all the anti-ICE rioters protesting. They're dropping bills with 50 co-sponsors 2 days ago, and we don't know about it? Well, we're going to remedy that real quick because, like I said, Republicans are going for the jugular. This is something that is going on under the scenes, and there's probably a reason you haven't heard too much about it. But we're about to dive into that right now because you guys need to know, to be quite candid, I want this en masse. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on if you also share the desire to have this go national. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments on this one because this is a big one, people. So, what we're going to follow here, of course, is the anti-ICE riots, the anti-ICE stuff in Los Angeles, the stuff that's in Minnesota. All over the last 10 years, you've had different flashpoints. You've had Wisconsin, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Anywhere there has been a mostly peaceful protest, there's always ties to organized crime, which in my opinion is the organized rioters and organized protesters that are well funded. They have communication networks. They are well lawyered up. They are in and out very, very quickly. And magically, they have the exact same signs, same outfits, same tactics and everything. It's really weird how that all works out. Just so organic, right? Well, it turns out that the Republicans have put a bill forward, and this is the representative that we're about to hear from, Representative Beth Van Doon, that they now are expanding or attempting to expand the RICO charges to catch the people who are funding the whole thing. This is an important story. I'm going to keep on covering on for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments field, but here's the baseline of what you need to know before we go into what they are co-sponsoring right now. What is a RICO charge? If you don't know, I'm going to do a high-level primer really quickly. A RICO charge based on the Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act from 1970. It's a federal law used to prosecute individuals involved in an ongoing criminal enterprise. Yeah, kind of like paid organized protesters or rioters, as we would call them in the real world. Yeah, the convictions can result in up to 20 years in prison per count, massive fines, and the forfeiture of all assets and business interests related to the crimes. You mean like the George Soros Tides Foundation or the ACLU? Yo, this is the hive mind. This is the nerve center they're going after. There's no other way to say it. And of course, this is another really interesting piece. RICO also includes a civil component allowing individuals harmed by such enterprises to sue for treble damages. Interesting. Now let's get to what the Republicans are doing because this is something that needs some spotlights on it. So you guys do what you do with your sharing. Just in, House Republicans are now pushing to pass legislation cutting off the funders of the anti-ICE left-wing rioters through RICO. Representative Beth Van Doon, the Stop Funders Act expands RICO to charge them criminally to follow the dollars who is behind the violent riots that are killing people, and they have 50 co-sponsors. Why the hell have we not heard anything about this until right now? Please, someone tell me why. Because this seems like it's a pretty important thing. Let's go through this video of her walking through it, and just an editor's note, there's an issue in the uploaded video. It's going to freeze with the video frame towards the end. The audio is going to continue, but that's not you. That's the way they uploaded it. Let's dive into this. I want to show you what's happening, and again, this is incredibly important, but mum's the word? What's that about? All right, watch.
The Stop Funders, and I appreciate you asking that. After what we have seen in the last several years in our country, where these organized, violent riots, these are not mostly peaceful protests. These were violent riots, and you saw them over and over again. 4th of July in Dallas, we actually had one of our North Texas ICE detention facilities. They got shot at from an organized group that were all in the same riot gear. They all had similar weapons. You're seeing it at these riots across the country where people are, again, wearing the same clothes, have the same equipment, have the same professional signs over and over again. But you're also seeing the same people who are at these events. There was a gentleman, there was a
Okay, and this stacks with what I've already shown you, and I'll continue to put this story together. I'm going to keep on tracking this because this is important. You remember the video? Let me know in the comments field below where I showed you the same protester getting arrested and carried around. This was about a month ago, and it was in like 4 or 5 different locations. Remember that? Yeah, this is what she's talking about. But anyway, let's keep going, and then I'm going to show you the segment that we covered from Josh Hawley in the Senate campaign, or excuse me, the Senate hearing, where it also exposed the same stuff. Y'all, something's happening behind the scenes. All right, let's get back to her.
A domestic terrorist who had pulled a gun on an officer in Austin during one of these violent riots, who was arrested, never charged by the Soros-funded DA. Comes to Dallas, and he was one of those that was arrested for shooting up the ICE detention facility.
Wow.
Now, these are obviously organized events. These are obviously well-funded events. What the Stop Funders Act does is actually goes after the people who are funding and organizing.
Thank you.
So it's expanding RICO statutes
Right.
to be able to charge them with criminal charges, to be able to follow the dollars. Who is behind these violent riots that are killing people, that are attacking our democracy, that are harming students, and that are meant to really disrupt and cause havoc? So that's what this act does. And you're right, it seems fairly commonsensical. I'm happy to report that we now have 50 co-sponsors.
Nice.
But if you are out there and you are listening to this, I would urge you to call your congressmember and to make sure that they are on this act.
Yeah.
Okay, why are there not 435 co-sponsors on that one? Well, I can tell you why the Democrats aren't doing it, because the Democrats benefit politically from this. The entire thing, this is the nerve center. You get rid of this thing, you've got an entire ecosystem that is built in funding paid, organized anti-ICE protesters that are deployed, communicated to, they are funded, they are completely outfitted in the same little gear, same riot equipment, the same tactics, the same signage, everything's the same. They're covered by the ACLU, which gives them legal protections and training. They've got all the money coming from the Chinese Communist Party. Like, all of this stuff, this is the nerve center. They're trying to destabilize the United States through this ecosystem. The rioter ecosystem is the best way to describe it. But anyway, this is what we were talking about in a previous video. This one wasn't really distributed really well. The notification bell dropped the ball. But this is the Senate with Josh Hawley exposing the entire thing. This was 2 days ago. Just saying. All right, watch.
Your organization specializes in following nonprofit funding and organizational networks. So based on your research, what organizations have been active on the ground in Minnesota? What can you tell us?
Yes, we have tracked over $60 million, according to the latest 990 disclosures, to approximately 14 groups, some of them national, others on the ground. Groups like the ACLU provide the legal defense, as well as facilitate the trainings for some of the tactics that Senator Corrin just described. A group named Democracy Forward. Take Action Minnesota has gotten over $10 million from these large NGO networks, including the Neville Roy Singham Network, Indivisible, National Lawyers Guild, CTUL, the Council on American Islamic Relations Minnesota, CARE, Minnesota 350, Voices for Racial Justice, on and on. Like I said, over $60 million just according to the latest 990 disclosures.
$60 million, at least 14 different groups. That sounds like a pretty broad ecosystem here. Where's this money coming from? I mean,
Okay, this is an important piece, but here's the bottom line, high level. You are looking at an entire ecosystem. You have the paid anti-ICE, anti-government, anti-United States foot soldiers, which are the protesters, the ones that you see, flinging dildos around and screaming violently and burning things to the ground and 24/7, all those things. Then, when the foot soldiers get in trouble with all of the police that actually do something, or the feds that actually do something, then they're bailed out by the lawyer networks, all of which is funded by Neville Singham, which is a connection to the Communist Chinese Party. You got George Soros, who is a well-known leftist agitator who funds the entire thing. And then you got the Soros-linked DAs, which let everyone out. Isn't that weird? It's almost like that's an organized unit, which would make it a RICO charge. Y'all, they're going for the jugular. All right. Maybe I'm wrong. Listen to Josh Hawley one more time, then we'll wrap this.
how is it flowing to these groups? Do you have any sense?
So we've built a database that contains hundreds of thousands of rows from grants from networks like the Soros Network, the Arabella Funding Network, as mentioned, the Neville Roy Singham Funding Network, many others, Tides, the Ford Foundation Network, the Rockefeller Funding Network, these massive NGOs that have billions of dollars to spend on all kinds of coordinated protest, or in this case, riot activity.
It's the same old suspects. Y'all, honest to goodness, this is about to get interesting. Grab your popcorn and your beverage of choice, Because if they start going after the actual fundraising of all these anti-ICE protesters and they actually get them on RICO charges, you're pretty much talking the gutting of the entire foot soldier class for the Democratic Party. Honestly. But we're going to keep following this one because I think this is pretty important. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. live stream. I'm Braden. See you later.